Hi everyone. So today we're going to do a project called an acrylic pour. It's a very trendy, artsy, craftsy thing. You'll need a canvas. You can also do this on rocks. You can do it on anything that's made out of wood, like a wood plank. You can do it on flower pots. If you're going to do anything that's outside, you'd have to get a sealer to go with it so that it becomes waterproof, but that usually comes in a spray. You're going to need acrylic paint. I'm actually using this 3 different ways of doing this. I'm using actually a pour kit, which is acrylic paint with resin already mixed in. You can buy acrylic paint and buy resin and mix them. You can do it with just acrylic paint, especially if it's just going to be inside. You will find that it might crack a little bit. I kind of like the cracks, gives it character. But the kits that come with the resin already in are readily available at craft stores. I think this is a great activity to do with leftover paint. It gets really interesting and you can use a lot of little bits of color, and the only other thing you're going to need is a plastic cup. I'm using a weird shaped one, but I wanted to be clear so you could see how much paint I'm putting in, but any plastic usable cup and something to cover your table, a disposable tablecloth or newspaper. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is make sure that your paint is well mixed, especially if you're using one of the ones with the resin in it. The resin does make it a little thinner. So depending which way you're doing it, you can add a little less resin to it. There's a million formulas online as to what's the ratio of paint to resin. I usually just do it with straight acrylic or one of these kits. If you're using straight acrylic, you're going to find that it's much thicker and it's not going to pour as much. You're going to have to help it along a little bit. And I usually say you want to have about 4 to 5 colors, and you want to have a varying range of colors. You want to have something that's in the darker to the lighter, and then somewhere in between, different shades. I have almost like an orangey brown here. I have like a burnt red. There's like a pink, and then there's like a peach. So these two on one end and these two on the other. It's really easy. So you take your cup. It doesn't matter what order you pour your paint in. Open up my paint, and I'm going to put in just about a tablespoon, just enough to cover. Now, this is all going to depend on how big your canvas is. You can go in and put 4 fat layers in, or you can go in and put 8 skinny layers and use the same amount of paint. I try to pour into the middle so that it kind of makes like a bullseye effect. Let's see if I can show you the bullseye. When I'm pouring. So if I pour straight into the middle of that, it'll make the paint run out to the sides. Now, how much paint are you supposed to use? It's a guess. I look at it as the cup is a corner of my painting, so I'm gonna need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cups. And then I look at that and say, I think that'll spread. Is that the right formula? I got no clue. There's really no, you're going to waste paint. This is not something that you're going to use exactly the right amount of paint and you're going to come out and be like, oh, none of it fell off and none of it got wasted. There's definitely going to be some waste. So I decided to go through and put 8 layers. So I put each one in and I put a decent amount, and then I'm going back and just putting a little bit more to cause that bullseye effect. And there's that bullseye. Okay, so the next part's easy. It's the pour. So I'm going to take my canvas, I'm going to put it upside down. Now, again, I'm using a square canvas. It's 5 by 5. It's not very large. I'm going to put my cup underneath, and I'm going to flip. And I'll let the paint pour out. Now, some methods say to pick it up and scrape it, some pick it straight up, some tap. I'm a tapper. I want to try to get as much paint out as I can so that more layers will show and I will get more ripples in it. When I'm done, I'm going to lift straight up and I'm going to peek in my cup. See, my cup still has some paint in it. See how it kind of fell in ribbons? It's going to look the same on my canvas. And that's how it poured out. So you can see when I start moving this, I'm going to start getting different variations on the color. Now, don't go throwing this cup out because inevitably if you're missing some corners, this is where you're going to want to get your paint from. So I kind of try to lean it on its side so that it kind of pools down so that it's easier to pour if I do need it. Okay, so all you're going to do is lift your canvas and you're going to slowly start to roll it. And as you roll it, you can kind of control by rolling it back and forth which way the paint is going to swirl. So if I feel like I'm getting too much dark, I'm going to want to go this way. Now watch, the dark is going to fall down. Now like I said, it's going to fall off the end. That's inevitably the point of this, is to cover the whole canvas. If you give it a shake, you'll get some ripples. Shake it in a direction that it wasn't going in, you'll create more ripples. See, I'm not seeing too much of that pink, so I want that pink to come out. So I'm going to do it in this direction so that the pink has the opportunity to spread. Now I'm just going to let it sit in this direction and let it walk its way down to the bottom of its canvas. And there you have it. Oh, no, one more corner. So this would be the perfect opportunity if I felt like I needed a little more. I'd turn my painting back over, I'd take my cup, I'd pour in, and then I'd have another layer. I'd have another layer of paint. There you have it. The finished acrylic pour. Here's another one that I made. I used a lot light colors. I used more colors. I used a gray, a silver, a white. There's a little bit of black in there. I like when there's a little bit of a darker, sharper color. And then what I did afterwards is I went in with a stencil and I did a butterfly. I've done for my nieces and nephews their names on it. I've added ribbon to hang it with. So you really can embellish them in many different ways.